Well, good morning or good afternoon or good whatever. Welcome back to another edition of You and Me and Multiple Sclerosis. My name is Pam, and I wanted to talk today about something it started off as kind of funny. I was in a conversation with someone, and I referred to my MS as my life partner, and they just thought I was being ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, I was kind of joking. But it stuck with me. So then when I got home, I started thinking about ways in which MS really is like your life partner. And I just thought it would be fun to step through a few of those ideas that I had about it, because it's true for me, but maybe not so much for other people. And again, as I go through this, I would love it if you would comment and tell me which of these resonates with you, which ones you really think I'm just crazy. But until I put them out there, I guess I can't expect any feedback, can I? So let's go ahead and get started. I'll just go through them and explain each one as best I can. Okay, MS, my life partner. Now the first thing that I wanted to talk about, of course now the slideshow is not working. There we go. So MS will always be with me, right? When we engage into a relationship with someone and we, make some kind of commitment, marriage, whatever, we think that they're going to be around forever. And that isn't always the case with people. Let's face it, it doesn't always happen. But unfortunately, MS will always be with me. It's not going to go away. It's not going to desert me. I kind of wish it would, but it never does. So it's there every morning. When I wake up, it doesn't take me long before I remember, oh yeah, something has to be different because of the MS. So all day long, it's kind of in the back of my mind. I can't go anywhere without my partner, Mr. MS, shall we say. And I suppose that whether I like it or not, it's till death do us part. So here we go. So yeah, and because of that, MS has changed my life forever. That's something that we say when we fall in love or we get married. We find someone that we want to spend our lives with. We say, oh, he or she changed my life and I'll never be the same. Well, for better or worse, MS is that way. MS changes your life forever. You might have had dreams, or you might have hoped to reach certain goals, or you might have wanted to live in a certain house or in a certain city or whatever. And I'm not saying that those are now impossible, but when you have MS all of a sudden now, those may end up having to look quite different. Another one is that MS has a say in everything. Just like any life partner, you have to consult your partner before you make any significant changes in your life or take on anything new or get rid of anything old. And MS certainly has a say in every single thing that you do. And as I said before, maybe you want to live in a certain house. Well, MS is going to say, well, sorry, there's an awful lot of stairs there, or there's no railing on the front porch. You'd have to change it. And even though it would look really bad because the house is this, beautiful historic home, whatever, it doesn't matter. MS has a say in every single thing. Whether you go in, whether you stay at home, what you do. So yeah, those all seem pretty negative, right? But it's not all negative. And I was thinking about it, and again, this is very tongue-in-cheek, so don't be offended by this, but I just thought, okay, there's some ways in which MS has actually done me some good. Now, one thing that it has done for me, and in all seriousness now, MS has taught me not to fear things, because when you live with a chronic illness and you deal with it every day and you learn how to accommodate it and you learn what you can and cannot do easily or at all, you don't fear things that you might otherwise have feared, because when it comes to cancer, for example, The great fear there is the fear of the unknown, the fear that it could turn out to be this really horrible thing, which it could, and I'm not saying that it wouldn't, but I had cancer, and people were astonished at how unafraid I was, how unworried, unconcerned. Now, I do have a strong Christian faith, and I think that helped me a great deal as well, but it doesn't hurt that I've lived with MS for 35 years. I know all about the unknown. I know all about a future that you just have no idea what it really is going to hold. So cancer suddenly didn't really seem like all that big a deal, especially when my oncologist told me, well, don't worry. I think that we can just do surgery and take care of this and it will be done. Well, surgery, yes, was very extensive. I knew that going in. He had to remove a kidney. He removed my spleen. He removed part of my pancreas. He also, it's kind of a freebie because I asked him to, he took out my gallbladder. So I have about half the internal organs in there that I used to. But yeah, I wasn't afraid through the whole thing. So I give MS credit for that because I have a different perspective on life thanks to MS. Also, MS teaches me to think things through. Now, I used to be a pretty impulsive person, but with MS, you really kind of can't be impulsive and get away with it. MS wants you to think about things like, okay, well, if you're going to go and do that, you have to think about every step. When I used to drive, I would think through the entire route because there are certain things that I knew I just wasn't very good at. Lots of traffic is really kind of stressful for me. I don't see well enough. I don't judge distance well enough. So I would try these different routes that had as little of that kind of unknown, uncertainty, changes kind of thing as possible. It took me longer to get where I was going, but I got there, and that was the important thing. But in every aspect of life now, I think about how I will accomplish it, whether it's a physical thing, like walking in my graduation, or a mental thing, like getting my coursework done and still being able to do some of the other things that I as an adult need to do, like pay bills and go to meetings and all that sort of stuff. So yes, MS has really taught me how to not be impulsive and to how to think things through. And the other thing about MS, it's really made me face some unpleasant truths about myself. One of the things that happens as you have MS for many, many years, or at least for me, it's true, that I have started to manifest some mood disorders, I guess you'd say, mood swings, as I call them, micro rages, but I understand that that's not coming from nowhere. That's coming from inside me. It's the filter that MS has destroyed. MS hasn't given me new emotions. MS has made it so that I can't really contain those emotions very well. And now I have to say to myself, okay, well, now I see some things about myself that are not very pretty, not very pleasant, but I have to face that that's kind of who I am, and I just need to accept and maybe try to work around that as best I can. I can't go through my whole life saying I'm sorry after I blow up at something or someone. So MS, yes, in that case, I think MS has caused me to face some unpleasant truths that I was in denial about. And here's another one, and this one kind of is tongue-in-cheek, but MS is a convenient scapegoat. Let's say somebody asks you to do something and you really kind of don't want to go, or you don't want to do it, or whatever. Maybe they want you to take on a task or lead something or whatever. You know, as a last-ditch resort, because I hate to do this, you can always play the MS card and tell people, well, you know, I'd love to do that, but I'm just not sure with my MS whether I'd really be able to do that. So in other words, like people sometimes blame their partner, oh, I'd love to go to that party, but my partner would never agree to that, or, you know, whatever. You can do the same thing with MS. You can make MS the scapegoat for things that you're kind of not really wanting to do anyway. It's not to be recommended. Let me just put that right out there. It's not a recommendation that you do that, but it is a purpose that MS can serve for you. And hey, you have to serve MS enough. MS might as well serve you occasionally, right? And the last and probably the most important thing is that MS has really helped me focus on gratitude, being grateful. Grateful for not only what I still have and what I still can do, but the friends that I have and the people who really care about me. And they aren't concerned about my having MS. They like me for myself. And they're also willing to do things for me and help me. I can now depend on people and not feel like I have to be independent. It's weak to depend on anyone. I don't want to trouble anyone or be a burden or ask. I don't do it all the time, but my friends never make me feel like I'm a burden. And I so appreciate that. I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for the things that I still can enjoy in life, despite the MS. And I think all of us can make a list of things we're grateful for. In fact, that's a very useful thing to do. And I would recommend that you do that. Every morning I try to start with something I'm grateful for. I just write it down. Something I'm grateful for. And it might be as simple as color. I can still see colors. I don't have to have something complicated or even profound. It's just something to remind me that you have a lot to be thankful for. You'd miss so much if you weren't alive. And MS or no MS, I love life. And I hope you do too. I hope that this has been kind of a fun way to think about your MS. But I want to hear from you. Did I totally miss the mark on this one? Are people thinking, what, is she crazy or something saying these things? Or did it resonate with you? Did you think, yeah, you're right, I never thought about it before, but you're right, you have a point. I especially like this, or I don't like this or this. I would love it if you would tell me. Anyway, leave a comment, and I'll give you an opportunity to subscribe even to the channel so you can catch all my videos. I'm going to be uploading every chance I get. I don't have a regular schedule yet, but I'll do my best. And I do really, really hope to see you in my next video.